Right, this is an October day. It is the 24th, so late October, but these are sort of autumn days I like, when there's not a cloud in the sky, the sun's out, it feels warm, and everything seems cheery before winter kicks in. Right, so we've done a video in the hothouse a couple of days back. This one's just going to be a quick one on the shelters and moving some slightly more tender palms into the shelter I've built here. I will be doing the odd shelter for some plants that are, or palms that are actually in the ground, but this one was specific to this area due to the framework that was already here. I've done a video on it anyway, so, and now I've just moved in some of the more tender palms which are in pots, which have been out all summer, and they'll probably stay in here most of winter unless we get a really cold period. I have made a little adjustment since the last video when I done on this shelter, so I've just put a bit of polycarbonate which I had, which are offcuts from the hothouse roof. So they're sort of long skinny offcuts which I've just put across the front just to stop a little bit of the rain getting in, so it is still I don't know, 4 or 5 inch gap there and still open at the top for airflow. But yeah, it just stops too much moisture getting in there, but yeah, allows everything to breathe, and it does still warm up quite nicely in here. So let's have a look inside and we'll see what palms we've got in here. I do have to be careful coming in because this decking board I've put across to stabilise everything is quite low, and the polycarbonate is even a little bit lower, so avoid banging my head on that once. I need to duck underneath that when I come in. Right, so inside here is, even though it's sort of fairly open, as regards to, let's say, gaps at the front and the back, it's still, you know, just out of the wind, and with the greenhouse effect, still quite warm. So I think outside it's probably about 15 degrees, nice sunny day. In here, this is in the shade, I don't know if you picked that up, that's sort of 20 degrees. So 5 degrees difference from inside to outside, so that can make all difference when it comes to winter protection. A little bit drier and a fraction less cold. Right, so again, these are permanent plants at the back. I went through that in the last sort of video I done on this shelter. So I've pulled in a load of potted palms. We'll quickly go through them. So we already had the sago, which we brought in, Cycas revoluta. What I've also brought in is, we've got a Phoenix sylvestris there in a big pot, so that's going to come under cover. So again, still light, still nice and warm in here, but just a bit more sheltered. Yeah, so we've got the sylvestris here. I have got a little Sylvestris robusta here, which is supposed to be a little bit tougher. We've got, this is Trachycarpus tequil. So that's coming in here just to keep it in good condition. We've got a small Trachycarpus princeps there. We've got a Phoenix riglanata here. So again, these are all in pots, so they'll stay in here unless we get a really cold patch. I'm talking more than -5, then I might bring them into the hothouse, but as it stands, if we have a mild winter, they'll stay in here all winter. What else we got? We've got little, and I always forget the name of this one, a dwarf phoenix, the trunkless one. We've got some Washingtonia filibusters that I grew from seed a couple of years back, so we're keeping them in here, keep them a bit drier. We've got couple of Phoenix canariensis, so a lot of people may be growing this one because it's cheap and available. Again, pretty hardy if you can keep it on the drier side, and in this position where it's quite sheltered, it should be fine. Again, unless we get sort of -5 degrees Celsius, then I may consider moving it elsewhere, but at the minute all these pots are clustered together, and it will warm up during the day to an extent, so I don't expect anything to freeze through in pots in here. We've got a queen palm, so Cyagrus Romanzoffiana. This one is the mountain form, so slightly hardier than the standard. Well, I've certainly found that anyway, with one planted out in the garden. Santa Caterina. The one in the garden and this one were exactly the same size when I bought them. This one's been in a pot, one in the ground in the garden is gone, pinnate, and looking a lot bigger, and certainly got a beefier trunk than this one, still quite skinny. But yeah, I wanted an insurance policy in case we did have a bad winter and stuff went wrong with the one in the ground. Yeah, so that is that. Like I say, this is another Phoenix canariensis, and I have got a standard queen palm here as well. This is one that I probably bought a couple of years ago as a little seedling, probably about £6 from eBay, and that's done fine. That's in a pot, but that's done okay this summer. But again, that'll be in here under shelter unless it gets too cold. So that is the cluster of potted palms we've got under shelter at the moment. I have got a couple in the greenhouse which I may put in here as well. There's still plenty of room, as long as I can get in here just to inspect things. I've still got room for a few more pots about. And I did mention I've got a couple of Livingstoner, so I've got Decora and Australis, and probably the Chinensis as well could come in here, and should be fine over winter unless we get a really cold patch. So that is what's going on with that. So if you want to know a bit more details about this shelter, then if you haven't watched the previous video about the shelters that I've done a few days back, then go back and watch that and you'll see the sort of ins and outs of the materials used and whatnot. And I will say as a disclaimer, and this catches me out every time, and I've done it before in the past, if I bought something from Amazon or Temu, specifically talking about these tarps, I bought these near on 3 months ago from Temu, and they were £10 each. I looked on there last night and they're now £40 each. So there's huge price swings. I don't know whether it's supply and demand or whatever, but if I say I bought something for this price, that is what I paid. I'm not lying about it, that is what I paid. But you know, things go up and down. I've done the same thing with a couple of big fleece, zip up fleeces a few years back. I paid literally about £8 for 2 large fleece bags, and then literally a week later they almost doubled in price. So yeah, little disclaimer there, prices do vary. It's not me making it up. I've got nothing to gain by lying about what I paid for something. Yeah, so these, which is a little bit frustrating because you know it makes me look an idiot, but yeah, I actually paid £10 each for these tarps from Temu, and like I say, nearly 3 months ago they did take nearly 8 weeks to come because they were land delivery. Temu, normally you're talking a delivery time of sort of 12 to 15 days, but yeah, these were by land and that took a long time to get here. But there's something that I do keep an eye on, and when the prices drop to the right price, then that's when I buy. So that's not going to help you now if you need it now, but you know, that's just a little bit of forethought for maybe next year if you need certain things. Just keep an eye on them, and the prices up and down all the time. Anyway, right, so that is just a look at some of the palm trees in pots we've got stacked up in here. We still do have a few along the side here. So we've got, that's just a J-Carpus Fortuna. We've got a couple of Washingtonia robustas, which they'll stay out for a bit longer. We're not worried about that until we get any frosts. Then I may probably put the Washingtonia robustas in the hothouse or something. Right, so we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my morning in the garden before I have to go to work this afternoon. We'll catch you on the next one. Any comments, any questions, feel free to ask. See you later.